Hello there everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's Amiibo here. Today we are doing something a little different. So a little over a year ago on my other channel, Bo Talks Games, I made a video appraising and organizing my Nintendo Switch collection where I kind of added all of my Switch games to a database to see what they are actually worth, and also at the time I just needed to alphabetize them because they were very disorganized. And I thought I would do a follow-up video on that now that it has been a while, where not only do I update all of the Switch stuff, because I will be honest, I've been very bad about keeping track of what I've bought and added to my collection in that time, but also the rest of my collection. So I'll just grab my my tripod here. So yeah, I have a lot of 3DS, a lot of DS, a lot of GBA. My collection has grown a lot over the past year or so on my PlayStation stuff. So today we're going to be adding literally every part of my collection. At least that's everything that's on these shelves anyway. I have some stuff packed away that won't be touched, but everything that is on display in my game room, we are going to be seeing how much it is all worth. Let's get into it. Now, last year when I made this video, I used an app called CLZ Games, which is just a really quick way to scan all the barcodes. It does unfortunately cost a yearly membership. I think at the time it was $15 a year. Now it's $20 a year, which is annoying because it just pulls the prices from price charting. However, I was looking into using the price charting app just now even, and it's way slower, like significantly slower to scan anything. So we're going to stick with the CLZ Games app. However, as you can see, I actually have erased everything. Maybe you can't see it because it's so freaking bright. Maybe I should turn on my brightness. I reset my app and deleted everything from it because I have not added basically anything over the past year to this app, and it will be honestly easier for me to just rescan everything and kind of fix it all up, because some games, you know, that were sealed I've opened, and it'll just be easier to start fresh and add everything properly this time. Now, last time, I believe my collection of just Switch games was at about $14,000, which is by far the biggest part of my collection. I have no idea how much it's going to be worth now just for Switch. We're going to do Switch first and kind of compare that, but then we will also be doing everything else. So 3DS, Wii U, I have a huge Wii U collection. I don't know what my total collection is worth, but I have a pretty good feeling that it's probably up there. I have a lot of video games. I understand that, so it's probably going to be an uncomfortably large number. So yeah, we're going to start with Switch because I think that's what most people probably care about, though I do want to add everything so I can finally have a total tally of how many games I have in my collection, because right now I frankly have no idea. I think last year I might have had like 450 Switch games. I wouldn't be surprised if that's upwards of past, 700 now, to be honest. So we're going to start with a classic here, Issei Lacrimosa of Dana, or Donna. So we're going to scan in the app here. Start by scanning barcodes. Don't show that to me ever again. That'll get very annoying. And scan that in there. And yeah, as you can see, that is a $40 game. Now, we need to make sure, as we scan these in here, that, here we'll do I Am Setsuna here. This is a Japanese game, so I'm not sure how this will scan in. Okay, it scans in fine, perfect. We need to make sure we're actually adding them as sealed or not sealed, depending on what it is. Now, the stack I have in front of me is specifically games that I grabbed that were sealed, because I wanted to see and kind of just separate those. It'll be a little bit easier, I think, to differentiate it. But here we have Spy Anya Operation Memories. Now, this is one I actually tried to scan into the price charting app, and it wasn't popping up. But as you can see, it is popping up on the CLZ Games app at $46, which is nice. At least it's popping up. It does look like it's the proper like Asia English release, which is nice. Even though it says EU, it doesn't have the PEGI rating there. So yeah, I'm just gonna be scanning games for the rest of my life here, and then by the end of this, I will update you all on exactly how much this whole collection is worth, because I really have no idea, you know? I'm not here to like resell my games or anything, right? Like, I don't care or really have any interest in doing that. I have sold some things actually in the past year that I decided I just didn't want, not because of like, oh, these are worth money. I realized like I just don't really care. Like, there was a it was a shmup from Limited Run Games that I bought. I specifically bought like the Steelbook version. I was like, I don't really need the other Steelbook version. Now, here's something interesting. If you look where it says Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, there is no price for that yet. So for a lot of games that are more limited, that was a limited run game. I guess they just haven't had enough data yet to actually add a price. So while some of the prices that pop up on price charting might be a little bit higher than what the game is actually worth, there will be some games that are just actually not even priced at all because they don't have the data or whatever to actually include it. So whatever the total number is at the end of this, realistically, it's probably going to be actually more than what the app says because of games like that. I remember there were quite a few last time that actually just did not have any price associated with it, which is really annoying. You know, like, that's really freaking annoying, but it's fine. Let's scan through some more here. Cry Machina, that's a probably like a $40 game. Yeah. Ayuden Chronicle. Some of these are for a pickups video that you guys have not seen yet, so Yeah, I'll be seeing these in pickups videos over the next several months, probably, as I squeak them out. Snow Day. Recently got this. It was like $8 on Amazon. And I was like, oh, I'll try that out, even though it got not good reviews. Newest release of all time, Sword Art Online. Yeah, no information on Sword Art Online yet. That makes sense. It literally came out like 3 days ago. Same thing with Pepper Grinder here. Probably nothing on that. Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. All right, so we've scanned a big bulk of games here. Let's go ahead and add 24 to collection and make sure that we actually select that they are new. Now, this is nice. You can go really granular here if you really want to keep track of like when you're buying games. Now, obviously, since I'm doing this all in bulk, I don't know what day I bought what game, right? Over the past several years. But if you add all your stuff and then you keep up with it over time, you can say like, okay, I paid this much, I bought it from here. That's kind of cool, right? Like if you really want to like memorize and remember where you bought certain games, how much you paid for them, what day you bought them on. Maybe that's even good for tracking. Like if you're trying to budget, like, okay, how many games have I bought this month or something? So there are other options in this app, which are pretty nice. But we're just going to go ahead and add all these as new with no other purchase information, because I don't know any of this anymore because it's been so long for some of these games. And they just slowly add them all to your database, and they will show you all of these stats. All right, you've just added 24 games to your collection, and what do you want to do next? Let's view my games here. So they'll all just be in a huge list here. You can kind of sort them by different categories, right? So by title, if you want, or A to Z, or Z to A descending, purchase date, date modified, release dates. That's kind of a cool one. Newest first. I mean, it does have the release dates in there too, which is nice. So like Pepper Grinder and Sword Art Online both came out on October 4th. March 3rd, 2017, I Am Setsuna, so that's the oldest game right now. And then the newest game, yeah. So kind of cool to have different ways to sort these and kind of view them. You can also just do it by price, I believe, right? So where that would be value here. Highest first. Let's see, the highest price game right now is Samurai Jack at $90. Which is cool. It said 70 earlier, but that's because that was a used copy, but then I changed it to sealed. So these are all sealed prices for these games, according to price charting. CLZ Games does take the data from price charting, but it's nice to kind of have it all in this one app, especially when it's so much faster. I tried getting some stuff into the actual price charting app, and it was so much slower trying to get things in there, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So it's unfortunate that CLZ Games cost $20 a year, but also it's a way more functional app, so it's fine. All right, and so the scanning begins. Enjoy some footage of our beautiful boy eating some treats next to his favorite Switch games. Yeah, this took a while because the way it works is you scan, let's say, 3 games that are sealed. You want to add them as sealed, and then, okay, a used game pops up, and it's like, okay, I want to do a used game. So it took a lot longer, I would say, this time than last time. That's also just due to me having way more games now. But it took probably maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to just add all of my Switch stuff. That includes consoles, special editions, just kind of making sure I had everything actually where it belongs also, because I wanted to keep things in alphabetical order. Of course, I still have some recent pickups and stuff I need to integrate, so that'll be a whole separate thing I do in another video maybe. But yeah, this took a while, but I'm very glad I finally have all of this stuff in the app and I can track my Switch collection. Next up was all of the Wii U, Wii, and GameCube stuff. I have a huge Wii U collection. I'm actually going for a full set, not just of North American games, but also all regions. So I have a lot of European stuff, a lot of Japanese games. Some of those end up being a little bit more pricey. And then Wii and GameCube are pretty small, but GameCube, I imagine, will probably pack a punch. Next up is basically all of my PlayStation stuff. So while I do mostly focus on Nintendo, I do play PlayStation quite a bit. I grew up with PlayStation. So I have quite a few PS1 games, quite a few PS2 games especially. And then throughout there, kind of just increases, right? PS3 is very cheap to collect for. I also find PS3, I think, maybe more than any other platform while thrifting. PS5 I keep up with, so I have a lot of PS4 games as well, just a lot of PlayStation in general. Next up, we have the Nintendo DS as well as the GBA. As you can see, I'm kind of just sliding these out one by one and actually getting very lucky with the scanning. With some of this stuff, the barcode scanner would just not work properly. As we get to a 3DS, I basically had to pull every game off individually and scan it, which was really annoying. But DS was really smooth because most of these I purchased over the past couple of years. I really rebuilt that DS collection, which meant I was buying, clean copies, right? So most of these, there were no stickers on the back, which kind of would interrupt the process. It was pretty straightforward. And DS, I imagine DS is probably going to end up being towards the higher end of what I have, even though I don't have as many DS games as, say, I don't know, GBA or something, right? DS is just so valuable, right? All the Pokemon games, you have the Dragon Quest games. There's a lot of value in just a few couple DS games, so I'm imagining DS will probably be pretty good. Although I actually don't have every Pokemon game. I do have Heart Gold in the big box and the Black 2 and Black and White. So I'm missing a couple things like White 2 and Soul Silver in the big box. But DS, I'm imagining will probably be pretty big, as well as, I mean, GBA is not going to be a slouch either. I recently added a ton of GBA to the collection, and these are all pretty much complete in box. I'll do the loose cartridges at the end, but just from this like one row of complete in box GBA and original Game Boy, that's probably some decent value, right? We have Minish Cap in there. Unfortunately, no Pokemon games complete on Game Boy Advance because those are so expensive. But you know, Metroid Diffusion, Zero Mission, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, I definitely have some good in-box Game Boy stuff. Next up was the Nintendo 3DS. I also have a pretty massive 3DS collection. I'm not sure how many games it's at exactly. I think when I did my collection back in July, maybe it was at like 250 games, maybe around there. I could be completely off base, but yeah, enjoy the elbow shots. So this was a little bit tricky where I had to be careful once again, like with Switch, because I do have a lot of sealed 3DS games, so I kind of had to separate those as I went. And also, like I said earlier, the barcode scanner was like giving me so much trouble. I don't know if it was the way the light fixture above me was positioned that it was just like adding like a glare or something. It didn't look like there was anything wrong through my phone's camera. But yeah, this was kind of a pain. This one probably took, honestly, the second longest next to Switch. Obviously, Switch just has the quantity over on 3DS. But yeah, 3DS I have a lot of, especially all those like Atlas cardboard games. Those add a lot of value to this. A lot of the first-party Nintendo stuff. I actually have a lot of it sealed too, like Hey Pikmin. I remember I bought like Miitopia. I bought those games when they were getting clearanced out. So I bought them for very cheap. They are still sealed. And most of my Yokai Watch games are actually sealed as well. So when we get to like the total charts and we go through all the values on the app, the Yokai Watch stuff, definitely some of my most expensive 3DS games. Also, the Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby double pack. That's actually a pretty recent pickup. I still haven't shown that in a video yet. I'll talk about that in the pickups video whenever that day comes, but I got that for way, way less than it goes for, and that adds some serious value to the 3DS. So I'm expecting 3DS. I'm expecting Switch will be number one, then probably 3DS, and then I guess Wii U, just once again from sheer quantity. Maybe DS could be above Wii U, just because I do have those heavy hitters, those Pokemon games, but Switch, 3DS, Wii U, I think those are probably my top three in terms of overall value. All right, now this was definitely a slog because I wanted to make sure I had all of my loose cartridges as well. I'll be honest, a lot of these loose cartridges I've gotten from like family and friends over the years, so I haven't even paid for most of this stuff. A lot of it has also been from Goodwill, so like I had no idea what some of these games were worth. Some of them are like actually pretty pricey. Like, you think of Game Boy games, you're thinking of like the cheap shovelware, and yeah, I have a ton of that stuff where the games are like literally $3 for March of the Penguins on a GBA. But then there was like that Fish Dude game that's like a $90 game. I actually found that at Goodwill a couple years back. But then even stuff like, I think the Tetris Disney game, like that's like a $20 game. There's a lot of like $20 loose cartridge Game Boy games that I didn't realize were actually worth that much. So honestly, after scanning all of this, I was like, okay, maybe GBA would be higher than Wii U. And I think that would probably be true if you count all of Game Boy together. So Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and GBA. But because I separated all three of them, they probably won't, combine forces and be enough. I was contemplating adding that Mother there, but it's a fake fan translation cartridge, so I decided not to. But yeah, going through all of these, I mean, I do have some heavy hitters here as well, like all the Pokemon games, of course, with Sapphire, as well as Emerald and Fire Red. I don't have Leaf Green or Ruby. So I am missing some of those. On Game Boy, I do have like Gold and Yellow and Blue, but I'm missing some Pokemon games on those consoles. But those are definitely going to add some serious value, and they are so small. They take up no space, and they're kind of just sitting in a baggie because I really have no way to display them. Now, the final thing I was going to try to add to this app were all of my 3DS demo cartridges. I made a video on this on the other channel maybe like 2 years ago. I got a ton of these 3DS demo cartridges that they would have at retail kiosks in stores, and the value on these is weird. It's hard to like actually put a price on them. Some of them aren't even on eBay. Some of them are on eBay, but they're like $10, right? Like, so some of them aren't like very expensive or anything. But unfortunately, at least as far as I could tell, CLC Games and Price Charity, they don't really have any of these on there, which is unfortunate because I would like this to really be the complete telling of what my collection is, what I have in my collection, and what it is worth. But unfortunately, this entire little baggie here is gonna have to set out of the final value. Okay, it has been a few days now. I got a little sidetracked with all of the Pokemon leaks that came out. Alarma was announced since I started filming the other stuff. However, I am back now, and I can finally kind of go through the app here and look at what everything's worth. And also just kind of look at all the analytics and numbers for like how many games I have, because I honestly have no idea how many games are like in my collection right now, which is just kind of interesting to see. Like, this room isn't that big, but it's pretty compact, right? Like, I have shelves filled to the brim. So, like, how many games fit in a room of this size, that kind of thing? I don't know. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So, all games / hardware. So, I have 1,993 games logged in the app and 60 pieces of hardware. Now, hardware is a little weird. I think I missed maybe some loose Game Boys that I have laying around, but for the most part, like any kind of complete in-box consoles I have, even like my PS5 and you know, my GameCube and all that, like everything added there, all my Pro controllers, all my Joy-Con, different colors there, all my different Switch OLEDs behind me up there, also Alarmo there. Alarmo not in the app yet, unfortunately. But yeah, just under 2,000 games. Now, realistically, that number is above 2,000 games because I do have boxes and totes of like Wii shovelware, and if you notice, there's no Xbox stuff in this video. Xbox, no space to display it. I don't really have that much Xbox, but also I kind of have a lot of Xbox pretty cheap overall. The issue with all of those discs that I have in the closet, like a lot of them are like scratched and stuff because I got them at Goodwill, at thrift stores, at yard sales, so they're not in the best condition anyway, so I don't really want to add that kind of stuff to the app. Everything on the shelves is like good, it's quality stuff. But yeah, I definitely have over 2,000 games at this point, which is crazy. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We'll just go ahead and update the price trending values before we look at anything here. I did see the number. It is way more than I thought. Like, the value of my collection is definitely higher than I expected, but that's the beauty of collecting years on end and, you know, just adding stuff and not having to sell it anymore. Like I did when I was a kid, you know, growing up, I would sell so many of my games. I can't imagine what this collection would be worth if that had not happened. But yeah, there you can see it. There it is. There's the big number. So $68,628 for the total collection. Looks like the update added an extra 115 because, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, some of the games like that are new don't scan in immediately. It takes a couple days for them to be any like price charting data. So like as you see on the top here, there's a couple games like that. So Fractured Daydream on Switch, Euphoria the Saga, as well as Echoes of Wisdom. None of those had price charting values when I initially added these in, but if you just press the update button over time, eventually those values do get updated. And as you can see, I mean, it's cool to just look at like what changed. Who knows if like, did Smash Bros really go up $23 in the past couple of days? Who knows? But I guess it's based on the souls they have that seemingly happened. Trails from Zero really gaining that value. Alf on Master System, one of my most expensive games. Also, yeah, Ultimate Ninja Impact on PSP. That's the like the Warriors clone Naruto game. That one's pretty pricey. This Gundam Breaker 4 game, that seems to be already out of print or out of stock in a lot of places, so that's already going a little bit higher here. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. It's just so interesting to see the data. I guess I don't know. I love data. I don't know if this video is even interesting to people. And I don't want to come off as like bragging. I feel like I'm like, oh, look at how much money I have or something, or like how many games I have in my collection. So I was a little hesitant to make this video, but my girlfriend was like, no, you should just make the video. People are gonna like it. And let me know if you do like this type of stuff in the comments down below. But I love numbers. I love seeing the data, and that is what this app is doing for me. Work time fun went up $3. So yeah, I mean, you can just scroll through this, and there's just all types of data, all types of information. I want to see if what lost value over the past little bit. What lost? Okay, that'd be least. Let's go all the way to the bottom and see what lost the most value in the past couple days. Famicom Detective Club on Switch. Interesting. Did that really go down that much? I don't think so. I don't believe you. Platinum also lost $30 of value apparently, and Heart Gold 25. Like I don't believe that. You know, Labo VR. The Labos were weird because they all were coming in as the same price on the app, but I don't think that's true. I think some of them are more expensive than others. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hope Special Edition from Europe, Genesis Mini, Kirby Air Ride, the original Paper Mario Complete Inbox that I got earlier this year. So that's cool. But let's go ahead and go to the big thing here, and this is the best part of the app, I would say, the statistics, where you can kind of see your most expensive games, what games you have the most on each platform. So 1,993 games on 30 platforms, 64 hardware items. The value total is what? I mean, that's like 67,000 or so, 68,000. Well, when you combine those, because it's 62 or just under 62,000 for the games, and then just under 7,000 for the hardware. So games by platform here is a cool stat to know. Nintendo Switch 633, honestly less than I thought. I thought it was going to be way inflated. To be fair though, like I said, I have sold a couple things. I sold like I said, that shmup, I think it was Dundonpachi Remastered or Resurrection. I also sold the VHS Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, as well as a couple other random things that I just decided I don't really want, like special edition things. The River City Girls Zero VHS, I might have showed that in a pickups video last year. So maybe that number has gone down a little bit. It'd be a little bit higher, I guess, if I hadn't sold those. But also, if I hadn't sold those things, I would have bought less games. So it probably equals out. But yeah, 633 Switch games. I imagine that will probably be over 700 by the time the Switch 2 comes out. But that'll probably be about like final. I'll probably end up at like a final number of 700 Switch games that I want, because I do have a list of games I still want to get to finish up my collection. 3DS coming in at number 2 with 236. That's honestly more 3DS than I thought. I'm going for a full Wii U set, And I understand 3DS cases are smaller or whatever, but I kind of thought I had more Wii U games than 3DS. There were a couple Wii U games that I wasn't able to add. Specifically, I have the different like versions of Dragon Quest X as well as Monster Hunter Frontier, the MMO from Japan. The different versions of those are not really in the app. That makes sense though because they are so incredibly niche. But yeah, 3DS coming in above Wii U, then Wii U with 188. PS3 up with 134. PS3 we find thrifting a lot. I would say PS3 and Xbox 360 is probably what we find the most of. So that kind of makes sense. PS4 at 127. Wii at 109. That's also surprising. That does not look like 109 games to me. I definitely have way more than that too in the closet, like I said. Just because I don't have really space on the shelves to be putting just, you know, cheap shovelware out. All the Just Dance games on Wii, I don't have space to just have all those on the shelf. All the random sports games on Wii. So we, honestly, we would probably be, we might be number 3. I think I might have more Wii games than Wii U games when all is said and done. And maybe eventually I'll go through and actually add the stuff in the closet that is like not in, you know, scratch condition or whatever, and they are complete. PS2 just under 100, DS 97, PS5 61. It's funny, I posted a PS5 collection video in early 2023 on my other channel, and in that video I had 95 games. I actually downsized the PS5 collection a ton because I had way more PS5 games than I have any right having. But I remember there was like a GameStop sale where they had a bunch of like kind of shovelware-esque games for like $5-10 each, and I bought a ton of them. I eventually just went back and sold them, even though I didn't really make much money off of them, or like I honestly I might have lost money. But I was like, yeah, I don't need all these PS5 games. So PS5 has gotten a lot more slimmed down, but also the games I kept are obviously way more quality. GameCube 59, I would love to grow the GameCube collection more. GBA 44, that checks out, yeah. PlayStation 1 41, Game Boy 35. You can kind of read these numbers here. What's my least? ColecoVision 1, I have Donkey Kong on ColecoVision. Dreamcast 1, I have Typing of the Dead on Dreamcast. That's my only Dreamcast game. And then yeah, one Saturn game. That's Magic Carpet, I believe, which is cool. Next up, we have the most valuable games in my collection. Now, to be honest, I'll probably do a separate video on this eventually, just to, you know, have different, like, you know, search terms and title and all that. But number 1 is Pixel Remaster, specifically the special edition on Switch. That, according to price charting, is still just under $800. I don't know if I fully believe that. I have not checked the price of that original ESRB release, but as you can see here, I bought this because I wanted to do a video on it. The new reprint of this just came out, and also there was the Play Asia version. So the Switch version of that, in theory, shouldn't be that expensive, but maybe the collector's edition contents up there have really spiked the value. I'm not too sure. Yokai Watch 3 on 3DS coming in at number 2. That is still sealed. That is the most expensive 3DS game by far. I cannot believe how much that has gone up over the years. People always say like, oh, you're going to incite FOMO and you're going to make the prices increase artificially for these games. Normally, that's definitely not true. Like, normally I don't have enough sway or power, we'll say, to change the price of a game. I will be honest, I do feel a little responsible for Yokai Watch because when I made videos about those games, they weren't, like, cheap, right? Like, Yokai Watch 3 was still, like, a $100 game. It wasn't until after I made those videos that they skyrocketed, so I will take the blame on Yokai Watch. I genuinely feel a little bad about the price of the Yokai Watch series because it was me and then a couple other people that started talking about it when the eShop closure was announced, and ever since then, those games have just been ridiculous. The Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire 2-pack, $400. I paid way less than that earlier this year. I think I got it for like $150, so that's cool. The Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition coming in just under $400 as well. I think I actually paid more than that during the 3DS hype back in 2022, so that's whatever. Annapurna Collection, Devil's Third, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition coming up there. Paper Mario and N64 making the top 10. This one's weird, right? It says Monster Hunter 4G is a $200 game. Now, I just scanned that. That's the Japanese version of Monster Hunter 4U. I bought all of the Monster Hunter games in Japanese. You can see them down there in the black, with the black 3DS cases. For some reason, Monster Hunter 4G coming in at $200. I have no idea why. That game, I got all of those games in a bundle for like $30, and you can just go on eBay and do that. So I don't know why it's scanning that much. I'll need to remove that and kind of switch it around. So that's annoying. Just kind of scrolling through here. Zero Mission Emerald Loose is a $200 game. That's crazy. Alpha on the Master System, that was given to me by my girlfriend's dad. So that's a cool freebie, I guess. Red Cat Core, 3 Houses Special Edition, Smash Bros, Xenoblade 2. What else? Anything interesting? Digimon World, Next Order. The Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Mario Party 2-pack. That's a weird one. Final Fantasy Legend 3. Got that for, like, I think $90 earlier this year. I'm not sure if I've shown that in a video yet. But yeah, just scrolling through. A lot of $100+ plus games, which is Obviously, this is where the bulk of the value comes from. But then when you get to the like $60, $70 range, that's where a lot of the Switch games are, like a lot of the RPGs and stuff that are out of print. So yeah, man, it just keeps going, man. Lots of expensive games. Humongous Classics Collection, that's an $80 game already. What the heck? AI the Somnium Files, that just got reprinted through VGP. If you are interested in that game, I've been waiting for a reprint because it was super expensive for a while. I'm not sure if it's still in stock, but it was like $40 like a week or two ago. But I guess this begs the question, what is my least valuable game? Let's scroll all the way down to the bottom here. Looks like I have a couple hundred games that are super cheap. Big Brain Academy, $4. Start the Party on PS3. Off-Road Extreme on Wii is $3.78. Yeah, that one's on the shelf for some reason. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Magic Johnson's Fast Break on NES, Hoops on NES, and then Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on Game Boy Color, and then March of the Penguins on GBA. I mentioned it earlier in the video. Yeah, that is my least valuable game. I bought that at a half-price books, I think, for $2 for some reason. I was like, oh, March of the Penguins. Yeah, I'll buy that. Classic movie, classic movie. I'm honestly surprised it's not a game under $2, though. Frankly, I'm surprised it's not a game under $1, but I guess when you're talking about price charting, it's pulling data from like eBay and stuff, right? So no one's really gonna list a game for under $1. Like, it's literally not worth the time to list a game for under $1 because with eBay fees and everything, you're literally making no money. Even if you charge for shipping, you still have to pay for like a mailer or something. So March of the Penguins being the lowest one is pretty funny. But there are more platform breakdowns here. My most recent additions, I almost forgot to add Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare on the DS. I know, I'm a terrible person. Also, those Lynx games that are loose. Value by platform. This is the interesting stuff here. Switch, $25,000. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy, but it makes sense. That is the biggest part of my collection. It's also the most expensive stuff that I buy because I buy a lot of these games when they're new. 3DS, $8,000. Wii U, $4,000. DS coming at number 4 with $3,300. So yeah, I was saying earlier I thought DS might end up coming above Wii U, but I guess not, just from the sheer quantity of Wii U that I have. GBA, GameCube being that high is crazy considering I only have like what, I think 49 games on GameCube, but GameCube also just skews a little higher in general. PS4, PS3, PS2 all back to back there. That's funny. Wii, PS5 coming up pretty high there. I mean, once again, that makes sense because the console's new. I'm buying the games I want to play when they come out. A lot of those don't really go down immediately. It's honestly not even like it was on PS4. Like, even Sony first-party games aren't getting as cheap as they used to, as quickly as they used to. Like, I remember back in 2017, for Horizon Zero Dawn came out, and that was, $60. By that holiday, it was like actually like a $20 game. That doesn't really happen anymore. They'll get down to like $40 now, but not to 20 like they used to. So PS5 games are kind of retaining their value a little bit more than PS4 was, I would say. And then yeah, just scrolling along here, NES. That's actually surprising for NES. Although I have that Captain America game. I think it's Captain America and the Avengers. That's like a $200 game, so that's definitely inflating the NES stuff there. That one's complete in box. PSP links. Yeah, this is all just the random stuff that I've picked up over the years, / at the old Goodwill and the yard sales. So I mean, Famicom, I have I think literally 2 games. I have Fire Emblem and Wizardry on the original Famicom. So my least valuable platform is ColecoVision with my one loose copy of Donkey Kong, which is pretty funny. And I will say this, right? People are going to watch this video and think, oh, wow, he has so much money. If he needed this money, he could cash out and get $67,000 instantly. Not how it works. If I were to sell all of this stuff individually on eBay, not only would it take a long time and a lot of work of, listing it, taking photos, and then when they sell, packing it, you also have to wait for it to sell. Also, with eBay fees and stuff, or Mercari fees, wherever you decide to sell, you're only probably going to get, realistically, like, maybe 70% of the value, maybe. And that's after months and months of, waiting for these things to sell. So I don't really have an easy cash out ticket if I need to sell these games. But that's the thing, though. I'm not going to. People always watch these videos and like, oh, you're trying to inflate the market so you're going to sell your collection. I'm not selling my collection. Maybe when I'm, 60. Right? Maybe when I'm done, when I'm retiring and I'm like, okay, I'm done with video games. But at that point, maybe the market won't even exist. Maybe it'll be crashed completely. So I'm not really expecting that, right? People always say oh, he's just trying to make a quick buck. No, that's not. Why do you think I'm doing that? Why? Who cares? Oh, here's a cool stat. Games by release year. So the most I have is 2023 with 125. That's definitely when I went the hardest on Switch, and then 2022 as well. That makes sense, right? Those were the 2 years that I really started getting into the collecting space on YouTube. So maybe I was buying a little bit more than I should have during that time. 2021. So those 3 years. That's funny that 2021's that high. 2021 had no games I care about. I guess there might be a lot of PS5 in there as well, actually. So that kind of makes sense. 2013, just because of Wii U. That's when most Wii U games were released. Also, a lot of 3DS. 2020, 2019. No 2024? Where's 2024? I guess maybe they're not counting it because the year's not over? But that's weird. Because 2020... Oh, there it is. 58 games. Really? That low? That's weird. I don't know if I believe that. I've bought a lot of Switch games this year that have released, like this year. Also PS5 games. I guess not that many PS5 games, but still. That's interesting that it's that much lower than the recent years at the turn of the decade. That's really weird. Maybe Black Friday will play a big part in that. Maybe normally that number goes up a lot during Black Friday when I buy a lot of the PS5 games or something that I want when they go on sale. But that's interesting. Least is 1982. That's Donkey Kong. Once again, Donkey Kong is staying down there on the ColecoVision. Games by genre, action, and RPG. Those are my two main genres. But then also action adventures there, which is, I guess, separate. You know, whatever. Genres are so weird, man. It's like impossible to really determine some of these things. But also, I guess, tower defense and sampler. Is sampler a genre? I guess it no, it's not. No, that's not how that works. I have 6 light gun games. I wish you could click on it and see what they're referring to as light gun, because I'm not sure what light gun games I have. I guess you could say like the House of the Dead games are light gun games. Duck Hunt I have is light gun game. Then we have games by completeness, just kind of a breakdown on how many games you have that are new, complete in box, or loose. I have a lot of Steel Switch games. That's where the most of that number is coming from. But then all of the complete in box stuff, that's all my Wii, my Wii U, my 3DS. I actually have a decent amount of sealed 3DS as well that I have not gotten to. Because the thing with the Wii U and 3DS is, at a certain point, I started buying a lot of those games after the Switch was out, after, you know, the 3DS and Wii U era was done. So I was buying them sealed because they were getting, you know, old stock sold very cheaply. Like I talked about it earlier, like Hey Pikmin. So I got those games pretty cheap sealed. I'm just going to download them, you know? Like I'm not going to open that copy when I can just very, very easily get them on my modded 3DS. I'm buying the game legally, but I'm going to download a copy instead of opening my my actual physical release. And then value by completeness, just because sheer quantity, complete in box definitely takes the reign there with $44,000. And then this one's interesting. I don't know if I missed this when you add stuff in. They have like a completed pie chart. So I guess you can say if you've beaten a game when you add it to here. I don't know what that number would be. It'd be probably maybe 30% of the games I've actually beaten, I would say. But I'm not too sure. I didn't see that option when I was adding them, but also it'd be way too much. It would have been way too much effort to add in each individual game. Like, okay, I beat this game. Maybe eventually I'll go back and do that. That'd be nice to see. And it's cool that they have the option for you. But yeah, as you can see, I I completely missed out on that one. Most valuable hardware. That's kind of funny that the PS5 just inherently is number one. Although I will say, scrolling through here, I don't know. The hardware is a lot harder to add to this app. A lot of them don't have photos, as you can see. It was saying that, yeah, my Sega Master System 2 is only $113. I don't think that's true because that is complete in box, and I've seen sold for like $300, $400 for that specific bundle that I have, the Alex Kidd bundle. But maybe, I guess, I don't know. Some of the hardware stuff, it definitely seemed a little bit more off than the games, I would say. My 3 Wavebirds here, $71 each. Yeah, just a lot of random stuff. The Zelda Game & Watch. Yeah, adding hardware definitely harder than like games, because also a lot of it you can't really scan unless you have the box, and a lot of it I don't have the box for, just like my Pro Controller, for example. I also did not add Amiibo to this. I will say that. You can probably add another $1,500 of Amiibo at least, I would say. I just did not have the time to add that just yet. I do want to do an Amiibo collection by the end of the year, I think, just showing every Amiibo I own. I know I've gotten comments asking for that. Most recent hardware additions, the Circle Pad Pro, cool. And then hardware value by platform, Switch definitely number one. That makes sense. That Switch would be number one. I have, 5 OLEDs? Yeah, I have five Switch OLEDs, 2 regular Switches, and 2 Switch Lites, plus all the controllers and everything. So that definitely is no surprise. New Nintendo 3DS is separated from 3DS. That's annoying. It's the same hardware family, guys. That's like saying, oh, the Switch OLED different. I don't know, man. I don't like that. I hate when they separate that. But I think that's basically all of the data we really need to look at here. I'm sure there's some other things that you can look at. I guess here we can go to all games and hardware. And then, like I said, you can kind of sort through this part right here. You can do, we can do release date. Let's do newest first. What is my newest game? Pepper Grinder and Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream still. I have not gotten any games since, well, actually, that's not true, because I added the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Anniversary Edition. But that, I guess, is not on here. or it's counting it as releasing in 2023 when the original version did. I guess that's. But let's go to the bottom. What is my oldest game by release date? I guess we already know it's Donkey Kong on ColecoVision, but I am curious, like, what are some other games around there? Oh, interesting. Okay, it does not have everything here. There are some Japanese games, some games that just came out that do not have the release dates added. Like, there's the Dragon Quest X I was telling you about. Yeah, a lot of Japanese stuff does not have the release dates in their in the little database here, which I guess makes sense. But yeah, then you can see Donkey Kong, Wizardry 2, Kung Fu on NES, a lot of NES stuff. It's cool to be able to just scroll through from the bottom up, like, okay, every game by release date. That must be fun to do. Like, let's say you're retired, you have all the time in the world to play all these games. Just go through one by one, playing every game in your collection by release date. That'd be crazy. Like, that would take an entire lifetime, right? But that'd be kind of interesting. That'd be kind of fun. Getting into the SNES here, getting some Game Boy, PS1 coming out. Then you get to GBA coming up here, PS2, GameCube. Very cool. I love having all these different ways to sort my collection. But I will say, closing thoughts. Now that I've added everything to the app, I'm going to make sure to actually, keep everything updated. I'm going to make sure everything stays updated on this thing because I do not want to have to do this again. So that means when I get a new game, I got to add it. But that also means when I go to grab a game on my Switch shelf and let's say it's still sealed, I need to make sure I go back into the app and update it and say, like, okay, this is now used, because I do not want it to get off base. The price rating values for some games might be a little off, but overall, not a bad way to keep track of everything, so you know how much your collection is worth, what games you have. Also, like, for like Wii shovelware and stuff, I want to go back and add that stuff too. I think that's in the closet because sometimes when you're out at like a store, you might genuinely just forget, okay, I don't have Redneck Jamboree on Wii. I gotta buy that, But that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, you can subscribe here for more Nintendo and gaming collecting content. And follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my Nintendo news channel at BoTalksGames as well. And until next time, folks, peace.